Okay, gotta be honest. When integer partitions landed on my desk, I was like, really? Is this what we're diving into? But then, well, I start poking around in the source material, this OEIS entry. It's A000000-1, and whoa, let me tell you, this is way cooler than it sounds. Turns out something this, well, seemingly basic is actually a window into some seriously fascinating math.
The OEIS, by the way, for anyone who hasn't spent way too much time on it already, is basically a giant online encyclopedia, but for number sequences. Mathematicians and, well, let's just say number nerds in the best way possible, of course, from all over the world, they contribute to it.
Yeah, no, it's really kind of amazing when you think about it. A000009, the reason it snagged my attention is it's all about integer partitions. To be honest, something I haven't really thought about since high school math class, but it's a lot more interesting than I remember. Picture like dividing something up. You've got a pizza.
Always a good place to start, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you're slicing it up, so maybe it's 5 slices. But you could have all 5 separate, or 3 slices and 2 slices. Or I mean, you get the idea. Each way you arrange those slices, that's a partition of the number 5.
And this particular sequence that we're looking at, this A000009, it focuses on the partitions where every single part is distinct. So each slice, they have to be different sizes.
Okay, all right, I'm with you so far. But hang on, the description also mentions something about odd parts, which is distinct sizes or just odd numbers.
And here's where it gets really interesting. It turns out they're actually the same thing, at least when we're talking about, counting how many partitions there are. The OEIS, it even calls A00000099 the, quote, number of partitions of n into odd parts.
Now, hold on a second. How is that possible? Seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Right. It's kind of wild, but, well, the math works out that way. Imagine, like, a staircase. And instead of taking one step at a time, you could jump up multiple steps. So 1, then 3, then 2 more, whatever you want. Each way you get by the top using different combinations of steps, that's like a different partition.
Okay, now I'm picturing one of those like heist movie montages leaping between buildings.
Exactly. And taking steps that are distinct sizes, so no repeats, turns out it's the same, at least in terms of how many total ways you can climb, as only taking steps that have ODD sizes. It's what mathematicians call get this, a bijection, which is basically just a fancy way of saying, a perfect one-to-one matchup.
Okay, my mind is kind of blown right now. So climbing our hypothetical staircase using only, odd-numbered steps gives us the same number of possibilities as if we used any size steps, but, never repeated the same size twice. I'm trying to wrap my brain around why that actually works. Is it something to do with how any number can be made by adding different powers of 2?
You're right on track. That's exactly it. See, any odd number, it's really just an even number plus 1, right? And all those even numbers, well, they're built by adding up different powers of 2, just like you said. We're getting into number theory territory here, but that's the connection.
Okay, that actually makes sense. Well, sort of. I'll trust you on that one. Yeah. But here's the thing that really grabbed me. This isn't just some mathematical curiosity. 000009, this pops up in some pretty unexpected places.
Yeah, I mean, the staircase thing, it's a great way to try and visualize this whole thing. But you're right, this sequence, it goes way beyond just, climbing stairs. This stuff pops up in some really advanced math, like Ramanujan theta functions, for example.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely where I started getting a little lost, I got to admit. Theta functions. It sounds intimidating.
Honestly, they're actually really cool once you get a feel for them. Think of them kind of like, mathematical tools. But instead of like a hammer and nails, they're describing really complex shapes and patterns. And the fascinating part, well, these functions are used in some seriously high-level math, but they actually rely on these partition patterns, like the ones we see in A000009. It's like this hidden structure, connecting all these different areas of math that you wouldn't expect.
So we've got these, theta functions, basically built on top of our integer partitions. And that's not even the only connection, right? I was looking through the OEIS material earlier, and I mentioned something called Euler's transform. Honestly, that one kind of went over my head.
Yeah, Euler's transform, it can be a real brain bender, that's for sure. It's essentially a way to manipulate these infinite sequences, like A000009, which just keeps going and going forever, right?
No.
Sometimes, though, if you use this transform, it can reveal these hidden patterns or even connect one sequence to a completely different one in ways you'd never expect.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But is there an actual example of how over 00009 is used with Euler's transform? Otherwise, it's just theoretical, yeah?
Oh, no, there are definitely formulas that use Euler's transform to, say, calculate specific terms in A00000009. It's a little too, I don't know, in the weeds for what we're talking about today. But basically, instead of having to count partitions one by one, you can use this transform as a sort of shortcut.
So Euler's transform is like, what, a power tool for mathematicians who are working with these sequences.
Exactly. And the fact that A000009, that we can even use it with tools like Euler's transform, just goes to show how deeply it's connected to all these other branches of mathematics.
This is really making me think about like all those formulas and theorems we learned in school totally differently. It's like they aren't just these isolated things, you know? There are these incredible connections between all of them.
That's what's so cool about math, though, right? It's all interconnected. But, it's not just like theoretical elegance here. This actually has real-world applications, too.
Wait, are you telling me my pizza slicing skills are going to make me a millionaire?
Well, maybe not directly. But understanding these patterns of partitions, which is what A000009 is all about, that's super valuable in a field called combinatorics.
Combinatorics. Okay, yeah, that rings a bell. Vaguely.
So basically, it's the math of, counting and arranging stuff, like how many ways can you choose a certain number of things, or how many different orders can you put stuff in. Sounds kind of basic, I know, but trust me, it gets complicated fast.
Yeah, now I remember struggling with those problems back in, probability class.
Exactly, but those are like combinatorics problems at their core, and this is used everywhere. I think computer science, cryptography, even things like trying to figure out, I don't know, the best way to schedule flights or deliver a bunch of packages.
Wait, so hold on. Figuring out how many ways to partition a number can help? Like optimize delivery routes. That's kind of wild.
It is, but it's true. It's all about, finding patterns and optimizing combinations, which, if you think about it, are exactly what A000009 and combinatorics are all about.
Wow, this is really making me realize how much math is happening behind the scenes of like everyday stuff that we totally take for granted.
It really is. And honestly, what I find even cooler is that a lot of times these really abstract mathematical discoveries, they end up having uses in fields that seem totally unrelated.
Right.
It's a good reminder that knowledge, it's all interconnected just in these really crazy, amazing ways.
So we've gone from like pizza slices to staircases, then it's complex shapes, and suddenly we're talking about delivery routes, all because of this one number sequence. I'm starting to think A000009 is like that quote, what is it? We contain multitudes.
It really does, though, doesn't it? And the best part, we're not even done yet. Remember how we were talking about A00000001 before? That other sequence, the one that's like, the mother of all partition sequences?
Yeah, the one that just counts up all the partitions without like any restriction.
Right, exactly. So there's this mathematician, Ziwei Sun, and he came up with this really interesting conjecture about, a relationship between A000001 and our friend A00000009.
Okay, and just to remind you, a conjecture, that's basically
a mathematician's, educated guess, basically. It's something they think is probably true, but they haven't been able to actually prove it yet.
Ooh. Okay, so we're on the edge of a mathematical mystery here. What does this conjecture actually say?
So Sun, he suggests that for any number bigger than 7, the number of distinct partitions, that's our A00000009, right? Well, it'll never divide evenly into the total number of partitions, which is that A00000001 sequence.
So it's like there's this fundamental incompatibility. Like no matter how many times you add up the distinct partition numbers, you'll never hit that total partition number exactly.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. And it suggests there's this deeper relationship, right, between how we partition numbers into distinct parts and, the overall structure of partitions in general. Like there's this underlying order, even in the chaos.
That's pretty incredible. And this conjecture, it's still unproven. Like nobody's cracked it yet.
As far as I know, yeah, it's still out there. Which is kind of exciting, right? It's like this tantalizing puzzle, and who knows what kind of mathematical tools we might need to actually solve it.
So even with everything we've learned about A000009 today, there's still more questions, more connections just waiting to be found.
Exactly. And that's kind of the beauty of math, isn't it? Every answer, it seems like, just leads to even more fascinating questions.
I love that. Well, I got to say, you've given me a whole new appreciation for these integer partitions. Who knew something that sounded, honestly, kind of dry at first could be so surprisingly deep and, connected to so many other areas of math and even the real world?
It just goes to show you, though, there's often this crazy beauty and complexity hidden in the things we least expect.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So next time you're searching for hidden patterns or those unexpected connections, remember A000009, all right? It's a great reminder that even in this world of numbers, there are always more discoveries to make. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.